Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your Lono Shorty. Today we're going to look at another one of the Minor Threats books. And yes, I'm breaking one of my rules here. I usually don't go back to a well when I've already read or reviewed one of the things in it. Yes, it's technically another issue one, but there's been a whole bunch of them. And although the creative teams do change a bit, they still take place in the same world. And I always feel like it's not worth me going over old ground, stuff like that. Like I've not reviewed multiple cyberpunk books or not even that much in the way of going back to Star Wars or X-Men or that kind of thing. Because once you get a general idea of it, it's okay. Yeah, the writing quality may change significantly. That might be talking about the artistry might change enough that it feels like a different book, but still sometimes it's part of the same ongoing narrative, just broken up into different chapters. In this particular case, I was a little bit nervous about it because it's an anthology starting off with the artwork of Mike Allred, and I'm not actually that big a fan of Allred's style. Like, I can't deny that he's really good at what he does, like he is a professional, but for many years I found the fact that he is quite close to photorealism for his human characters, but not quite so close enough to really hit that Tim Bradstreet kind of level. It feels like he's somewhere between that and Justin Mason. And this, again, it's a personal thing, but it always feels like I'm just wanting him to pick a direction, pick a lane, and he's so good at what he does that I feel like, yeah, this is definitely a choice, and just because it doesn't appeal to me doesn't mean it's not great. But because of that, I find myself just not quite vibing with it. But I did a Batman book recently, and I really enjoyed that. I think the Batman universe works really quite nice with the fact that these are, for the most part, human characters, but there's something other about them. Something just that little bit off, a little bit weird. It's why the idea of Batman existing in something like our world never quite sat right for me, and a lot of people are leaning towards that right now. And the Minor Threats world, it works pretty damn well too, because this is a very kind of down-to-earth, street-level story in a world full of superheroes and supervillains. It does something which I quite like. I'm going to compare it to DC's Batman stuff again right now, when recently they've done the whole one bad day thing, where they kind of tried to justify and make us sympathise with these villains being going off quite some time, because, you know, everyone can have that one bad day. Some of them landed better than others. Some of them just really reiterated that what their idea of a bad day that drove them to multiple murders was actually kind of minor annoyance for the rest of us. But I like the fact that they took a shot at it. In this world, we are starting the point where we don't know who these people are or the amount of terrible things they've done. We just get to see them existing in this world as people where there is authoritarian superheroes flying around. And I kind of like that down-to-earth nature but still full-on superhero stuff works really effectively, and Allred is the right artist for it. Throw Matt Fraction in as a writer, and I'm sold. I mean, in a way, I'm kind of like, damn, this is only the creative team for the first one of this anthology. But, I mean, if you're watching this video, chances are you know enough about comic books to know that Fraction is most famous, at least around these parts, for his Hawkeye and Hawkeye comic books, which were brilliant and genre-defining, absolutely spectacular work. Introduced Pizza Dog. And he's also going to be doing Batman soon, which is a hell of a thing once they finish their capitalist money grab Hush sequel that they're doing right now. Batman is going to be restarting with Matt Fraction writing it. So I'm like, yeah, okay, it's actually been kind of nice to know what he's been getting up to since the last big event he'd done. So I kind of buckled in and I was like, right, what are we going to do here? Oh, okay, this is a story about a guy in a superhero world born with wings, like angel wings. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But it turns out that's the only thing about him that's different. He has the exact same size and bone density as a regular-ass human, which means the wings are useless. Absolutely pointless. Even if he had that kind of, he has no tail to like guide flight, there's no way he would actually be able to use them to fly. But he makes a living for himself being a TV detective in A Wing and a Prayer, I think it's called, where it's him and another detective, and we catch up with him in the BoJack Horseman or Galaxy Quest stage of his life, where he's just going to conventions, and that is brilliant. Like, just on its own, that setup had me intrigued. I like that. That's work put into a backstory, and it makes the character sympathetic kind of straight away for people who engage with fan culture for as long as I have. I wanted things to go well for this guy, and we get this rather wonderful story introducing my current favourite bad guy in this universe, and honestly, there's been some gems already. I'm not going to describe him, but when you read this, and I hope you do go and read it, and you encounter Manuel, I hope you understand quite the gem you've been given by this creative team. I can't imagine this working as effectively in anything else. I think maybe even Dick Tracy would struggle to sell this as something like actually as a thing that happens in the world, and Dick Tracy goes weird. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. It has a fantastic ending. I can't wait to see what else they're going to do with them, and don't get me wrong, I'm like already well on board with the Minor Threat stuff. I've liked every single one of them. There hasn't been a bad one yet, But I think this idea of an anthology at this point to introduce some plot threads and some characters, which may or may not be picked up down the line, and giving a bunch of people who maybe don't have the time and space to do a big 4-issue series can just come in and tell one story and be done with it. And I'm like, yeah, why the heck not? Anyway, that's it for me. Probably for the week. It's been another quiet one, but hopefully all the Image stuff that's been delayed for the past few weeks will turn up next week, and I'll get to review things like Assorted Crisis Events. Until I see you all again, look after you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!